I thought we learned something about slavery, but apparently not. Hoppa. There we go. I need to check that all the sound levels are okay before the video starts.
When we hear the word Dubai,
there we go.
Most of us picture towering skyscrapers, immense wealth, police with Lamborghinis, 7-star hotel.
Those are actually the exact things I think of when I think of Dubai. Are like skyscrapers, sports cars for police and taxis, celebrities and TikTokers and cool sweets. So this is I'm the demographic of this video, right from the get-go.
Cream of society inside them. Also the Palm Islands, the World Islands, the Burj Khalifa, the Burj Al Arab, futuristic symbols of incredible wealth. And so in light of all that, I'm here to make the case that Dubai, the Emirates, and the Gulf countries in general are one of the worst places on the planet. Now this is a rather bold claim, I realize, but it's one that I can substantiate fully. So let's take a look at what's really behind the glitz and glamour, the true face of Dubai and the Gulf countries. To better understand what's going on in a place like Dubai, first let's talk about Romania.
What? That's a bit of a leap. Yeah. Normally I'm like really aware of things, but I don't see the connection between Dubai and Romania. So I'm
decades following World War II,
I'm anxious.
The capital came to face the same problem as many Eastern European capitals did at the time. As urbanization increased and huge residential areas were built out, the need
that is so fucking Helsinki in the 50s throughout 80s. So this looks similar to Finland.
Arose for new, high-capacity public transportation. And so Nicolae Ceausescu, the dictator of Romania back in the day, gave out the order to construct a metro line. And so the engineers created a line proposal and presented it to him. And then Ceausescu was like, no, I will design the route personally. And so the former shoemaker assistant, who also called himself the genius of the Carpathians, I am not making this up, sat down and redesigned the entire metro line to have it run along the river underneath. Yes, along. But Nicolae Ceausescu's wife, Elena Ceausescu, a former textile factory worker, also got her fair share of planning. Reportedly, when the planners presented the final version of the metro line to the Ceausescu couple, Elena Ceausescu reportedly asked why the metro would stop inside the inner city at Piața Romana, inquiring what kind of factories there are. The planners told her there aren't any factories, but there is the Bucharest University of Economics where there are lots of students. Hearing that, Elena Ceausescu reportedly said, "Students? They've gotten fat. They grew a belly. They should walk. No station at Romana, let them walk." And so the moral of the story is, smooth brain dictator plus construction equals dumb shit. And boy, what a perfect segue this is to the video's actual subject, Dubai.
Okay, that was actually a great transition. Like now I see the connection between Romania and Dubai.
The city of Dubai is a fucking joke. It's a tasteless parody of everything wrong with modern humanity. And so why do I say that? Let's go through it, shall we? Now, in my video about skyscrapers, I have already talked about the Burj Khalifa. It's a big dumb tower of glass and steel stuck in the middle of the desert, serving no other purpose than a petrodollar-fueled dick measuring contest. And the building even has its own poem about itself. Like seriously, how pretentious can you get?
I am the life force of collective aspirations and the aesthetic union of many cultures. I simulate dreams, stir emotions, and...
What the hell is that?
Oh my fucking god. Rising gracefully from the desert and honoring the city with a new glow. I am an extra... So this is actually like Burj Khalifa talking itself. I didn't know this. This is like fucking batshit crazy.
That noise. Oh no, it's the poop trucks. Yeah, did you know that the Burj Khalifa isn't connected to its sewage system? So every single day a huge line of poop trucks have to queue up next to the building and suck out all the poop. So
soon to be Atlantis. You mean like a city
Dubai's
was
palm
kind of...
islands are the OG symbols of the city. The construction of the first one, the Palm Jumeirah, started in 2001, if you can believe that. And according to Google's satellite images, it's still not finished. It's still getting built out. And just for good measure, let's take a look at what they actually built here. I mean, these things do look nice from space, but what are they really from up close and personal? Well, the stem is an 8-lane urban freeway, and the leaves are...
Just a second, I need to go. I'll be back. And we're back.
urban streets.
Sorry about that.
There's also a monorail in the middle. Oh, and between the point and Nakheel
So there is actually a monorail there.
Mall, there are no stations. So then, how do people living on the leaves get on this thing? Well, it's a rhetorical question, of course. Just
They
like
don't.
the real suburbs in America, this thing... Oh, and by the way, the sand they use for the palms is not desert sand. They can't use it because the grains are too big. Instead, they have to get the sand from the seafloor. And they achieve this by sucking it up with these big
That's a bad thing.
Annihilating acres of marine life in the process. Oh, and by the way, these palm islands were built on top of natural coral reefs, which they just...
How the fuck isn't like Greenpeace there all the time? Like protesting and like everything we've heard so far about these islands and how they have been manufactured. It's fucking bad. Like
ended up basically burying. Oh, and according to NASA measurements, all these islands are sinking at a rate of 5 millimeters per year. And by the way, have you heard about this thing called the rising sea levels? According to the
my
Environment
fucking god.
Agency Abu
Yes!
Dhabi, under the most severe climate change scenario...
Imagine being a fucking millionaire. You bought yourself a little island there. And you're thinking like, this is the perfect place to take my family. And then it fucking sinks. Perfect. Desert Futurama.
Dubai's urbanism in general is just complete bonkers. It's kind of its own little bubble, really. A strange little rich people's dystopia in the desert. Take a look at this arrangement. 2 sections of skyscrapers separated by a 20-something lane freeway, and behind it a bunch of cul-de-sac suburbs and golf courses. It's this strange mixture between Futurama and evil Los Angeles. And this just makes me feel so frustrated because all that money and all that power, they could have done so much more and so much better than this. The way I understand it, the main motive behind building all this flashy stuff was to try and increase tourism, to help the Emirates economy transition away from oil revenues, which is, you know, fair enough. But then why not build something truly unique? Something that isn't just a big dumb tower of glass and steel, or a couple dozen suburban streets on sinking sandbanks, or gigantic malls or golf courses. Imagine a city with full-on historic Arabic Golden Age architecture with modern elements.
Oh my fucking god, that would be awesome. Do this. I want that.
This is concept art from Diablo 3, but you get the idea. I have seen skyscrapers, malls, suburbs, urban freeways, or golf courses before. What I haven't seen is a historical or at least historicist Arab city. That would be a great way of spending all those petrodollars, or at least a better way, I would say. And that might even attract a more quality crowd instead of the oligarchs, trust fund babies, and novo-rich idiots.
That's
okay,
true.
That's a bit unfair. But
No, it's
what I
not.
read
No, it's
now
not.
is
That's
exactly
completely
a
fair.
haven of intellectualism, so to speak. By the way, did you know that only 10% of the Emirates population is actually Emirati? The other 90% being immigrants and expats. Well, actually, they're all immigrants. It's just that white people came up with this word expat, so they don't have to call themselves immigrants abroad because that word is reserved for brown people. Speaking of which...
Slave state, okay.
And this right here is my biggest problem with Dubai, the Emirates, and the Gulf states in general.
Yeah.
All that luxury, wealth, and opulence you see all around you in Dubai.
They are built with
rests on a
slaves.
mountain of human tragedies. Poor people from third world countries such as India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh are lured in by work agencies promising high wages and stable employment. People take loans from friends and family so they can cover the costs of their travel and work visa, usually more than $2,000, despite Emirati law requiring the companies to pay for those. Upon arrival, workers' passports are often confiscated, essentially trapping them inside the country. Workers are forced to work up to 12-hour shifts, up to 7 days a week, for $175 per month on average. Wage arrears are common. Many workers not
35 cents per hour.
To quote from a Human Rights Watch report, the impact on workers whose wages are withheld for even 1 month.
They need union there.
They immediately fall into arrears on the debt they owe recruiting agencies in their home countries. They incur additional interest.
Although I imagine if you're a union worker in the Gulf, you would be killed. Because 35 cents an hour.
The COVID epidemic only made
if there was a union, it would be $10 an hour or so.
Left many workers jobless. Consequently, many were abandoned by their former employers. They now spend their days in half-abandoned worker camps on the outskirts of the city. Only volunteers and their food donations standing between them and starvation. A Guardian article quotes a construction worker called Hassan. He says, "Guests on and off visit and give something, but when nobody comes, we have to starve. We have nothing." All this just a few kilometers away from the 7-star hotels, the world's tallest skyscraper, the world's biggest mall, and the golf courses for rich foreigners. According to the estimates of the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, between 2012 and mid-2018, more than 10 Indian workers died in Gulf countries every single day. And these are just the Indians. In addition to that, a Jezebel article goes on to say that at least 2 Indians commit suicide every single week in the Emirates. A number, they say, that is simultaneously both shocking and
disgusting.
They show photos of the accommodation the workers have to endure, unfit even for animals. A harsh contrast to Instagram's parallel universe. They call this system modern slavery, and I'm afraid they are correct. This and the previously mentioned issues, but especially this, is why I hate the Emirates and especially fucking hate Dubai.
Yeah. Like the Qatar FIFA World Cup that is coming next year. It's basically built by death and slavery. So I don't understand why the fuck the world isn't like doing something. Like the UN isn't doing something.
The city of Dubai is a fucking joke.
I thought we learned something about slavery, but apparently not. I'm really saddened about that. Not an eye-opening video because I know a lot of those things already. The thing I'm looking now is the UN's Human Rights Council member countries. Let's see. I wouldn't even put United States there, like, because of the recent shenanigans. Yeah, that's a fucking joke. 47 states, members of the council. So these are the 30 something. Bahrain, you get the fuck out. Bangladesh, okay, there's a civil war going. Brazil, Burkina Faso, China. India shouldn't be there either. Russia too, no, fuck that. Somalia, yeah, take that shit away. Like, there's a lot of countries that shouldn't be there, and the funny thing is, like, Finland isn't there, which should be there. Like, we know. Trust us, we know. We fucking know. So, yeah. Slavery is still, like, up and running, so we haven't learned anything in the past 100 years or so about slavery, unfortunately. And for some reason, well, the reason why it's still, like, really openly used in certain countries is because there's no repercussions, there's no penalties for using slaves, because the human rights councils and, like, all of those councils who could demand retribution and condemn the actions of these slave countries, they get vetoed out by the smaller countries who are benefiting from slaves. And the smaller countries who are benefiting from slaves are used by the big countries that are benefiting from the slave. For example, explain this to me: how the fuck China is in the Human Rights Council when they have over 1 million Muslim slaves in concentration camps? When they harass Mongolian descents, when they harass Hong Kong, when they harassed Tibet, Taiwan. Like, that country shouldn't be anywhere. That country should be held on court for crimes against humanity. And there's a lot of more countries like India, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Somalia. Even United States in parts could be like prosecuted for crimes against humanity. But nothing's been done. And that's fucking sad. There should be something done.